Welcome, everyone. I'm Ryan, and welcome to another Uncomplication. Uh, yeah, we've been, going down and going up through this roller coaster, and sometimes I think ADA might be going to $2,000, but that's just me. I think ADA is going to the moon, and that Bitcoin is gonna crash down. I'm a full-on bear right now. So if we take, let's see the bar pattern. If we take the bar pattern from here to here and overlap it here and take it, copy here, trace from here, I think because of this, Bitcoin is gonna crash down from this distribution pattern and right around here, while ADA goes to, around the $2,000 mark.
Oh man, outsourcing YouTube videos is the future. And Tchello, thank you so much for filling my chair, because it's lonely out here on YouTube. And so having some stunt doubles and stand-ins, I think, is the only way to really thrive in this space. Yeah, so I mean, making YouTube videos isn't any more complicated than that. You come on, you have a fancy background, and you put a bunch of shit on charts, and people take you seriously.
The background is like my default background now, and sometimes I enter my classes and this is my game background.
But
Yeah, it must feel pretty nice to wike off in front of others.
oh yeah, once you start wiking off with a camera, it's hard to go back. But I invited you here to mock me publicly, because that's always fun. But also, you're one of those people in the garden that I think stands out to me as someone who knows a thing or two about trading the cryptos. And I thought we could just do a little market look in together, and at the same time pick your brain a little bit, learn a bit about you, because you have for the last several months been teaching courses and showing newbies and veteran traders alike some of the tools of the trade and how to be actually profitable at this, and not just FOMO into things and get wrecked like a lot of people do. So yeah, I have a couple questions for you up front. I'm curious, would you consider yourself a trader or an investor or something in between? How do you look at yourself in the crypto space?
I mean, right now I think I'm more in the investor time frame.
Hmm.
I mentioned this like a bunch of times that I used to, be looking at the 15-minute time frame for the entire day, but I've now switched and I basically only look at the daily, and I get really uncomfortable if it's anything below that. It starts, getting too meaningless to me. And with that, it comes like, if you're gonna do something on the daily time frame, it's not just technicals that matter, I think, especially if you're going to do this on like longer periods of time. You have to know at least a little bit about what you're trading and what you're buying and what you're selling. So I would consider me more like an investor that has been a trader and uses the trading tools to make better investment decisions. But I'm definitely not like buying and selling every day.
Maybe then talk a little bit about where you started this year, what your habits were like, how often you were trading. I'm just curious to see kind of what made you make that jump from the day trader to more of a week time frame kind of guy.
And yeah, I think it's a big trap for anyone that starts into crypto to, I need faster signals. I need to know when it's going to reverse before anyone else. I need to sell at the exact top, and I need to buy at the exact bottom. And so the smaller time frames, they seem very attractive, right? Because you're seeing such small data that if you're good, and you think you're good because, everyone thinks they're smart, um, you're seeing that small data, and that might lead you, if you think you're good, to buy the bottoms and sell the tops. But it doesn't really happen, and you just pay too much attention to the charts.
When you were trading on the 15-minute time frame, what was your profit like, and what was your stress like? How was that equation, and how is that different from now?
I would say like the profits were as much or probably even lower. I haven't done like the specific statistics, especially because at this time I wasn't tracking anything, right? I was just, go with it. And that's also a trap that I think people get into, to not track anything. And at least I think it's important. And like the stress levels was at least 10 or 20 times what I feel now. When, for example, I remember very distinctly when Bitcoin was around here and I saw we going down, I got really stressed. I couldn't even sleep. I
Mm.
lost an entire night's sleep just thinking, oh my God, it's going to go to, 10K or something. I'm going to lose all my money because at that time, when you're trading the 5 minute time frame, you have to use leverage, right? You cannot just buy spot. Yeah. And so I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to lose everything. And now I see these things, I see these drops and I say, cool, time to buy.
Yeah.
I think the the way I found to balance it out is to seek the things in crypto that kind of correlate with school,
Mm.
the statistics, the logarithmic, and all those things, the mathematics of, tokenomics and whatnot. That has got me very passionate about crypto. That's where I found I can be doing both something that, makes me learn. Uh, like I think statistics is one of the subjects I'm really the best at right now, at least on my current program. It's the one I have the most ease with. And I think that's mostly because of crypto, because I started wanting to track trades and whatnot, and I started researching Markov chains and stochastic processes and all of that stuff. And when I can get school and crypto together, I think that makes me very happy.
Mm. So now when you, I don't know, when you sit down to crypto, what is your process? Like, how do you jump in and see what's going on? Maybe walk us through like what charts do you look at? What technicals or the news? Like, how do you just get oriented, and then how do you think about things?
Well, first of all, I really don't watch news. I when I was trading the 15-minute time frame, I had this Telegram bot that just searched the internet for any article like that is published. It sent the article in less than a minute that contained the word crypto. And so I was looking at this, and you have to mute it if you're not actively trading. But I was just, oh my God, this news, this news, this news. And I found that it's mostly harmful because 100% of the time when you heard about it, it's too late,
Mm.
right? Because there's the time for someone to write it out and everything. And just that time is a bit too late if you're taking into the news into consideration. Um, but what I see usually is I just go to the daily time frame, and I like personally these moving averages, which are called the whole moving averages. So these are the moving averages I'm usually using. Now, I don't want to be mean to you, but I really don't like the blue and purple chart because
Mm.
I think it makes it too hard to read. So these are the colors that I usually use. And I use these two moving averages right here. And they have been historically somewhat of a historic support and resistance, right? So for example, right here, when it flips down, we're in a bit of a downtrend, but the longer term one, which is this kind of orange
Mm.
and green one, is still going up. So this one gives me a bit of a longer term trend, right? And this one gives me a bit of a shorter term trend. And these are just the whole moving averages of 55, I think. Yeah, 55 and 200 period right here. So yeah, these are the main moving averages that I use. And as you can see, the shorter one, shorter trend, so downtrends and uptrends, longer one, longer term, like uptrends and downtrends. Now, I like this specific version because when it starts going a direction, it changes color. So
Mm.
it's a bit more visual to you. So, when the moving average is going down, then we're probably in a downtrend. And when the moving average is going up, then we might be in an uptrend. Now,
Hmm.
of course, um, I think one thing that people struggle with the most is finding actual confluence. If you go to any trading channel or course or book or anything like that, they will tell you, well, that you need confluence to enter a trade or something like that. But many of them, or like 90% of them at least, they don't say what confluence
Hmm.
actually is, right? Because I think that if you're using 10 indicators that tell you the same thing, like the exact same thing, then that's not confluence.
Hmm.
So let's say if you use 100 different moving averages, would that make any difference over, just using one moving average? And if it bounces kind of around the same place, would you say that it's a stronger signal just because it's a lot of moving averages together?
Hmm.
I don't think it is. So you need to use like indicators, or you know trading styles like trend lines or volume profile tools. You need to use different tools that tell you different stories, right? Because the momentum indicators, so the RSI, the MACD, all of those indicators, they tell you the same story. They tell you the story of momentum, so how fast price is moving. The moving averages, they tell you the story of the trend. So what is the general trend of an asset? And the volume indicators, for example, they tell you the trend in volume. But if you use just multiple versions of a same type of indicator, then you're basically seeing the same story over and over again, right? And I
Hmm.
think confluence is all about getting different stories from different, perspectives, if we can talk about it like that. So
Yeah. Something you said earlier is jumping to my mind because earlier this year I had, my trading view up all the time. I was also looking at generally about the 4 hour time frame, sometimes jumping down to the 15-minute, but all of these different indicators, all of these different signals. And now really the only thing that I'm really paying attention to is the sentiment, which is just palpable. Like you can kind of feel that, and even in the garden, what people are saying and thinking. You can see it on YouTube. And the fear and greed index. And so when things are really overheated and greedy, I know that I'm just not interested in the market, period. Like when I see that things are in high greed, I don't really care what the indicators are telling me, because I just know that historically, when you have those surges of greed, it's getting closer and closer to a trend reversal, and vice versa when things are way down and fearful. So let me ask you this. If you could go back and sit down next to yourself from a year ago with the knowledge that you have now, what advice would you give?
that's a hard question, because I think, making all those mistakes and going to the 15-minute time frame and just stressing out about everything and getting bad grades, uh, after all that, I think I learned a lot, and I don't think I would be where I am now if it wasn't for that. I don't think I would have gotten to know you even if it wasn't for that. Me frustrated with the 15-minute time frame, me frustrated with all the stress I'm going through. Um, and I don't know, what I think I would tell myself is, someday, at some point, you're gonna find something that works for you, and you know just chill a bit, try to not stress too much, but just go through what you're thinking, right? And maybe risk a little bit less money.
Totally. Yeah, there's some people that are fortunate enough to learn those mistakes slowly. There's other people that learn the hard way. And one of the classes that you did recently, you brought up a little like spreadsheet that talked about losses and what it takes to come back from a 5% loss, 10% loss.
So this is like different percentage losses and how much you would need to gain for breaking even, right? So if you lose 1%, it's almost 1%, so 1.01%. But as you start going down more, then what you need to gain is way higher. So let's say you lose 80%, you know, of your account. Now all of a sudden you need to make 400% just to break even, just to have what you had at the start. And you know, how many people have you seen that have made a full forex on their entire account?
Mhm.
I know very few. Like maybe sometimes you buy an altcoin and it does 100x or something, but that's just a small fraction of a portfolio. But imagine doing a forex on your entire portfolio. That to me seems like extremely unlikely, especially if you have made enough wrong decisions to get it 80% down, right? So at this point, what I think is people should really first, they need to know that at least if they were minimally responsible, they can rebuild back up. You know, if they got to this point, just replan and think about what went wrong. Would I be better just buying and holding? And if you would be better just buying and holding, then I would very much encourage people to just buy and hold, as you said, because first that takes a lot of emotion out of the table. You know, you just watch the charts once in a while and you don't care about it, and you start doing things that you think are more interesting.
Yeah, I just watched a movie in the theaters a couple days ago, and they played right before the movie started as part of the previews a crypto.com commercial with Matt Damon. And Matt Damon's like walking through this like high-tech virtual space with all these holograms of famous explorers and people that took huge risks but got big rewards. And the whole message was like fortune favors the brave. And sitting in a room full of people, most of whom have no awareness of, what we're talking about here, about, how easy it is if you're trading on leverage or not understanding, what you're doing, to lose your money quite suddenly. Um, it's it's kind of wild to me that culturally we're encouraging people to step into this space with that kind of sensibility of, take big risks and you'll get big rewards, when really, the advice that most traders should be given is that, the real traders that I've heard talk in this space that I'm like, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. They're saying, in any given trade, you're putting in like 1% of your stack. If you're actually trading, you're not taking these huge risks on leverage with 80% of your, net wealth. It's not about trying to be Amelia Earhart and, doing some big, bold feat. It's really about either finding the balance in your life where you can just treat this like a different kind of piggy bank, and you're just kind of putting away your extra money and watching it appreciate, because that's what, Bitcoin and these other assets have done. Or it's, seeking some good advice and learning how to trade on a time scale that doesn't drive you crazy.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think this, story of just you gotta risk more to make more. You know, you only hear the stories of the people that have done that, and they eventually gain money from it. It's that saying that history is written by the victors, but while trading is just told, it just reaches, the only stories that reach you are the stories that people made 1000x on Shiba or something like that, right? And for every single one of those guys that double or triple their account in 1 minute or something like that, there's a story of someone that risked their house or something like that, taken money from their mortgage or something like that, and lost it all on leverage.
Mm-hmm. And that's real life stuff. That's like, there's been some people that have reached out to me this year with stories like that, and it shows that this is more than just a game, and it's more than just a casino. It is like Russian roulette. If you go in over your head. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I've appreciated your willingness to share what you've learned. I think you do a great job of teaching people, from the nuts and bolts, square one of trustworthy exchanges and how to, set up trading view, and just, from the beginning, how to step into this maturely with your eyes open and understand the risk. Sort of as a concluding set of thoughts, I'm curious, outside of crypto, what drives you? You talk about, education statistics, but when I don't see you in front of a microphone talking about these imaginary monies, what's your passion?
Yeah, I love mathematics, dude. It's an accruing useless knowledge. I mean, the videos I watch the most on YouTube are like just math stuff that I probably won't ever use, but just seeing how people solve different problems or stuff like that.
Hmm.
And things that I didn't know about weird stuff. So the latest Veritasium video, for example,
Hmm.
on how energy actually doesn't flow in wires. That was
Hmm.
pretty crazy to me. Yeah, it's just such a weird concept. If you had, let's say you had a battery, right? And you have like a wire, and like that's disconsidering, of course, the resistance of the wire. But if you had a wire that is like 1 light year long in each way, and then it loops around, and then the light bulb is right in front of the battery, actually the path that the energy is taking is not just going around the cable and into the lamp, but it's flowing outside the cable and into the lamp, such that the time it takes to light the lamp when you close that circuit is not like 1 year, which it would be if it occurred. It's 1/c, which is the speed of light, so it's almost instantaneous. So that like blew my mind. That makes no sense at all, right? And these are the things that I like to do. I like to learn about stuff, learn how uh, math and physics work, and when I can apply it to crypto, cool. I make a cool spreadsheet for everyone. Actually, a nice project that I've been trying to make is, would a coin flip on your trades perform better than you actually did? I'm trying to do that on Excel or on Google Sheet, but it's kind of hard. But I think it would be a nice experiment, just an easy spreadsheet that anyone could fill just to see, would a coin flip perform better than you? And I think
Hmm.
for most people, they would be at least surprised on how a coin flip would do.
Yeah, it gets back to my original premise, is that we're just in the way of ourselves. And overthinking is not our friend in a lot of cases. That's really wild about the wire and the light bulb. I'm gonna have to go check that out. I love those Veritasium videos. That guy does such an amazing job. Well, sir, I appreciate you. I appreciate the amazing brain you got under that amazing hair. And yeah, this was fun. Thanks for keeping me company. It's lonely out here on YouTube. I want to bring in more of the wonderful people that teach me so much and help me have more perspective. And I think when we share our stories, we don't have to learn all those lessons the hard way. We can kind of help each other and elevate each other. So yeah, Tchello teaches classes in the Crypto Garden and has a whole library of content that's growing on the Crypto Garden YouTube channel. So definitely check those out, because I was astounded to learn that you didn't really speak English until the Crypto Garden, and now you're like teaching classes and conversing with me. And yeah, you're just
Yeah,
a
like
brilliant human.
I knew English, but I hadn't like done conversation at all. Like I have never actually, talked with my voice to anyone that was native in English.
That's amazing. Well, I'm like on a 45-day streak on Duolingo, so that gives me hope, because I'm really good at texting in Spanish now, but speaking, no bueno.
No bueno.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, I'll let you get back to your day, but thanks for taking some time.
Yeah, anytime, man.
Cool.
Anytime.
See you in the garden.
See ya.
Cheers.